Ladies and gentlemen, this is Project StarCraft, casting at you live from Shakuras Plateau. We're casting a Protoss vs. Zerg from reddit.com/r/castit. I'm not sure who our Reddit superhero is, so if someone in the comments on this video can let me know, I'd greatly appreciate it. Spawning in the top left-hand corner on Shakuras Plateau, we have our Protoss, who, since I'm a Protoss, I'm going to be rooting for, is our player Frost. And as I mess up my stream, in the top right-hand position, we have our blue Zerg, Sovay. Now, Shakuras Plateau is a very, very interesting map. It's a 4-player map. You've got a pretty big base inside your main, which leads down to a natural. It's pretty easy to defend. Quite a large ramp leads out to the main map, and it leads to decisions for thirds. You have a third that's kind of a far away, but normally you can be able to set up a stance right in here. You've also got a third base that's natural right here. Quite a few bases on the map. It's very easy for both players to take multiple bases. 2 Xel'Naga watchtowers in the middle of the map cover the middle. And your opponent cannot spawn beneath you or above you. So they will always spawn close by air or cross position. Now we see Sovay doing an 11 pool with the extractor trick. So it looks like he's going to be providing some very, very early pressure against our Protoss superhero. Now Frost utilizing a 12 pylon, or 12 gate and 14 gas. And it looks like he's going to be doing some gate play. Now, I don't think this wall is very... Yeah, it's not a good wall, so it's very easy for Zerglings to be able to run by and wreak some havoc. Now Frost with the pentagram of death sees the pool completed. Sees a batch of Zerglings being coming along the way. But with a slight hiccup in Sovay's play, he's not able to build quite a few. Actually expanding behind the 11 pool, which is very, very interesting. Now, in retrospect, when I first looked at it, it didn't look like there was enough, but planting a Zealot right there should be able to complete a wall off. So Sovay's play is kind of interesting. Normally when you go for 11 pool like that, you're going for some sort of kind of economical, I guess, early aggression. But the fact that he went 11 pool and expanded looks like he might have been getting the Zerglings in order to defend against any kind of shenanigans. Now Frost getting a second gas and Chrono boosting out some warp gate tech. So it looks like we're going to see some early aggression from Frost. Now, in terms of build choice, a lot of Protoss players in the PvZ matchups are going Forge Fast Expand. Normally, you can be able to Forge Fast Expand and be able to get a macroeconomic advantage while you do that. Now, right here, Frost is deciding to actually put down some gateways, so even if he wants to, he can decide to apply some pressure against his Zerg opponent. Now Sovay's expansion is up. We see 2-3 harvesters just now on gas, so it's going to be quite a bit, at least 3 minutes before we see even Zergling speed or any other kind of economic advantage. So we also see a Stargate being completed and rallied towards the far left of the base. So hopefully he's trying to rally against any kind of pesky overlords, but we see one overlord actually creeping back in, so it looks like we might see a Void Ray and a Overlord decide to look at each other. No kiss. Spinecrawler being thrown down for Sovay. Now the thing is that you want to throw down the Spinecrawler. I mean, you want to throw down maybe one proactively, but Sovay lost his map control, and with early Zerglings, you want to be able to take that map control. That spawning pool, that early spawning pool, I think was an error. Now we see one Stalker warped and actually chase away the Overlord, and to our dismay, the Stargate was not found. And just barely getting out in the nick of time, being able to save that. Now the thing is that Sovay really doesn't have a whole lot of anti-air. He's got about 2 queens. He doesn't have creep connecting each base. So if Frost plays this correctly, he'll be able to apply a lot of pressure to Sovay without any kind of retaliating attack. Now, interesting enough, Frost only has 1 gateway. So at the 6.5 minute mark, he's got 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots, and it looks like he's getting set up for an expansion. And coming back to Sovay's base, we see some aggressive droning. 9 drones on the way and an evolution chamber almost done, along with Zergling speed. So if Frost is deciding to attack utilizing these these Void Rays, excuse me, he needs to do so until his window closes. A Spore Crawler being put down kind of in a position that's really going to protect the front, but it's not going to protect the base very well. And since it's only one, it's being set up there for any kind of cloak detection, not necessarily anti-air. We see 18 Zerglings being produced as a response to this, but also an additional Spore Crawler. But the thing is that there's not a whole lot of anti-air, but there's also not a whole lot of air either, so let's see how this attack goes. These spines being placed very, very well, but those Void Rays are able to charge without taking too much damage. One queen getting in the way. That other queen getting stuck behind the other one and actually just doing shield damage to the Void Ray. Frost actually pulling back to check for a third to make sure there are any other kind of shenanigans going on. Doesn't see one. And while he's doing that, he's able to secure an expansion of his own. So he's actually building a forge, some additional gateways at the front of his wall just to complete that wall off. And his expansion is done. So he was able to utilize this build very, very well to be able to apply some pressure on the Zerg, but Sovay's build was very, very interesting, getting an 11 pool and not really doing a whole lot with it when he could have just expanded outright. We see a battalion of Zerglings running through. I like the, I'm saying flock of Zerglings since they've got wings, taking some damage from the Void Ray, but they're actually going to run in. Now they're just going to chill at the base of the Frost's base, and Frost deciding to warp an additional Zealot right there just to complete the wall off. Zerglings run in and decide they can't get a run by. Now Frost, very interestingly, is getting a fleet beacon. Now, getting a fleet beacon before the 10-minute mark is extremely rare. And he can either be going 2-base carrier, he could be going mothership. But we see some Void Rays, just 2, fly right into the main and deciding to see what kind of damage they can do. Not fully charged yet, but that queen decides to GTFO and run back. And these Void Rays are actually able to do some additional damage. A transfuse going down on that queen. And both these Void Rays are fully charged, but with the 3 queens that are right there, he's able to chase off without taking too much damage. And to my delight, we see a carrier on the way. See some Void Rays flying through. They just missed that Overlord that's right there. Free Overlords are always a great thing to get with some scouting Void Rays. As Frost decides to build some overhead on his supply and add some additional gateways in addition to +1 attack. Coming from Sovay, we see a correct response in getting a Hydralisk Den. We see +1 missile attacks and a 3rd base about to pop for Sovay. Now I think this is an interesting place to place the 3rd. Now the thing is that with a mobile army, you want to be able to have your army be able to reinforce quickly. So actually from this base to this base is pretty quick. However, you want to make sure that it's not too far away. So I personally would have preferred to go right down here and utilize some of the anti-air that he has in order to be able to take that out, utilizing Queens and Spore Colonies. Now, interestingly enough, we also see a Nidus Canal being placed. Let's see where that pesky Nidus Canal is. It's right there. And about 2 dozen Hydralisks on the way. We see 1 carrier already on the map. Carrier has arrived, in addition to a mothership. So it looks like we're going to see Sky Protoss. And Frost, you're a man after my own heart, because I want to be able to do Sky Protoss a lot more often, but I'm scared to because of what kind of horrors I might see from my Zerg opponents. Now we see a Spire go down, and +1 range attacks are just about to complete. We see some additional Spore Crawlers being put down. Frost putting down some proxy pylons down towards the front, and some additional Spore Crawlers being placed in the 3rd. And that mothership is just about done. Come on, baby. Yeah. And carrier has arrived momentarily. We see a push out from the front. We see a pretty good sized force from our Protoss point. However, we see a Nidus Worm being placed down in Frost's base, and he has absolutely no idea this is happening. And with that Nidus Worm coming in, he's actually sending out some Hydralisks, being able to do some things. Frost doesn't see it properly in time, so he sees that his base is under attack. But as the Zerglings and Hydralisks stroll in, Frost decides that he's going to go into a base trade situation, bringing his force right here, the 2 carriers, the 3 Void Rays, the Mothership, and the Gateway Army. He decides, you know what, screw it, I'm going to go for a base trade. Taking out the 3rd that's right here, we see the Zerglings and Hydralisks going to town on the units that are right here. Where are the Hydralisks? What happened to the Hydralisks that were right here? We see Sovay's 3rd being taken out as Frost's main is being attacked. It looks like Sovay did a defensive posture, bringing the Hydralisk back, because that's what he needs to do in order to take this. But in a grave mistake, he actually moves into the actual Protoss army, using a lot of his army right there. And Frost, with a perfectly placed Vortex, place it down at the base of Sovay's ramp. And as those units come out, they're going to get attacked by the Protoss army that's just laying wait. The Mothership goes down, but it's just not enough, even with the streaming and units that are just barely poking on the units that are up here. We'll see a good game any moment now as we see Carrier, Void Ray, and Stalker and Gateway Army running in. And Sovay asks, GG? So I would almost give that what the fuck was that? In response, 1 build. That's what I get for clumped units and target firing this attack. Yep, that's exactly what happened, Sovay. Now, I don't think that would have saved you the game. I think that with a little bit of better unit positioning, you might have been able to deflect some of it. And I think retreating with the Hydralisks was a good idea. However, that micro error of just walking into the Protoss army, very, very common. I do it all the fucking time, and it's always scary when you do that. So, nice attempt, Sovay, but good game to Frost, and hopefully that was our Protoss hero. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.